Hello, welcome to Tony's Bonsai. I feel very lucky to have some amazing followers and viewers who watch all of my videos. They watch them all the way through. Some people watch them more than once. And they might be thinking, well, I watch all your videos. What's this? What's this monstrosity that I've never seen before? This is a group planting of goat's willow on rock. I put this together a couple of weeks ago. It didn't work out and I was hoping it'd end up looking amazing. It's a really nice rock under here. I've decided to take all these trees out of this planting and reconfigure this forest or whatever it is using muck. Luckily, they grow like weeds, so they should come out fairly easily. I can't really remember how I've attached them. I bet they've even grown since I put them together. But they're basically, I found them I had them lying about in loads of different pots and I just put them together, tried to kind of combine them a bit, and now I'm just taking this apart. They've got loads of really nice roots on them, these. Now for the rock. It is a beauty, this rock. Yesterday's video with muck was a bit of an experiment. It was a bit too sloppy. I think there was too much clay in it. So I've remixed some. I added some more moss and some normal sort of compost peat. By putting more sphagnum moss in it and putting the compost in, it's now a thicker texture. It's a bit more fibrous. And this is probably now only 20 or 30% clay at max. So this should do well for the roots to grow into, and this is more like the material that I was planning on using, and I think this will work well on my large planting, but it's also going to work well today to re-put this group together. The reason I found it so difficult when I first tried to put this together was because I just couldn't get the trees sort of in the positions that I wanted. So I'm going to use some of the same principles, which is starting with the largest tree, and I wanted this one to be sort of roots in here and then sort of coming out of the side like that, but I just couldn't hold that in place like that. But now, having this muck, I think I should be able to just sort of lay those roots down like this. See, I want these roots going down out of the bottom through the hole so that the roots go into the soil. But I want them going into the soil via all this rock here. So if I can just use this muck now to hold that tree in place there, even on this underneath section, which is going to be really difficult, I think. But even under there, I can kind of squeeze the muck in like putty, even putting some around the back of the tree just to support it, like this. And that's held that in place really nicely. That's exactly what I wanted to do. But without the muck, it just wasn't working. The beauty of doing it like this is that this soil down here now, I can just work those roots down into the soil like this. And that should have no problem surviving. Next up, we've got another fairly large tree. This has got really good roots coming down. So I'm thinking this one might work well. Again, going down into this same hole, but just sort of perched on the side of this rock here, like that. So I don't want to cut any of these roots off, obviously. I just want them down into the soil down there. And then once I've got a nice position for the tree, there, that's nice. That's a good spot. Then I can just use this muck to stick the roots really just to the surface of the rock. Matt recommended a good video to me after today's video, and it was Nigel Saunders and his muck recipe from a few years ago. And it looked good, it worked well, but that was for creating a mound of soil in sort of a group planting, as opposed to sticking roots to a rock like this. And when you're doing something like this, you definitely need that clay in there to give you the holding power and the stickiness for the roots. You know, you will not be able to do this with just a mixture of compost and bonsai soil. There's no actual bonsai soil in this because I don't want any large lumps. And it's just quite a tactile experience, just working these roots around. Obviously they're nice and covered, these roots now, so they should be lovely and moist, covered in all this clay. It's not a thick coating that I'm giving them of this muck, so the roots should be fairly close in to that rock, and I think this is going to be a superb technique for the kinds of creativity that I enjoy. Got a really healthy tree here with lots and lots of roots, so I don't know whether to feed them down into this hole or take them across. I could do either. I think what I'll do is I'll do both. So I'll put half of the roots in the hole and the other half sort of draped out over the rock. So I quite like the position of that there. I think that works quite well. Every one of these will be very similar now, which is just me using the muck. I try to make every video 8 minutes long at least, for the reason being that once a video is 8 minutes, I can then choose to turn off the adverts in the middle, because I hate adverts in the middle of a video. So I turn all my adverts off, but I can only do that if it's 8 minutes long. This is wonderful. I'd almost plead with anyone to have a go at this technique. It's such good fun. You just need a few little saplings, and you really want little young seedlings like this. I think they'll work out the best. Oh yeah. Already just with these three in, you can begin to get an idea of the composition that I've got in mind. I think it's going to look fantastic. It's basically 15 or more root over rocks all over this one really interesting piece of aqua rock. This is an interesting tree. It's quite tricky. It's got a very long taproot, and I'm wondering if this one will be perhaps a good candidate to go down into this hole here. can't seem to seat this one so well. Oh, that's quite nice there. Yeah, that's okay. This one can be a bit lower down in the actual hole. So I do want these trees on all different levels. So this one can sit fairly low. And that can now be prodded in. I'll get one set coming down there like that, round here along the face. Ah, that works well. Yeah, the other one goes down vertically and down that rock. Like that. That'll do, that's good. Okay, so what I ended up doing is I ran one set of roots down here, up over this edge, and then round and under, sticking to the underneath of that rock. The other set I took around here and then down off the edge. So yeah, it worked nice. That worked nicely. I've only done 5 there. It's taken me quite a while. So I'm going to put the rest of the trees in. I suspect this is going to take me at least an hour or 2. And I'll come back to you and show you when it's finished. Not too bad. I spent another 3/4 of an hour working on this, and in the end I've got 16 trees in this planting, so yeah, very happy with this. I'll show you what I've done. In the long term, I probably see maybe this direction as the front, but it's very hard to tell at this stage. But I've just worked in lots of the trees, just kind of working with the roots and trying to spread them out evenly in an interesting way. So mixing up the thinner and the thicker ones, although they're all very similar. And the exact orientation of all these trees, that can be adjusted in time using wire or guy wires or whatever. But for the time being, I think it's really, this is what I had in mind with this rock. The trees have all got roots going either down through the holes or around the edge, so I do want to just add a bit of soil into the holes and around the edge over the roots. The last thing to do is to take some moss and just try and work it into the surface of the clay. Just like that. And I don't need to cover it all, I'll just put small areas of this all over. And this will just spread. It's all mossed up now. That'll all kind of settle in over the next few weeks, and hopefully all that moss will help to secure the clay and keep it in place while the roots develop. I want you to lie to me now, and I want you to try to tell me that you're not excited about seeing this as this develops during this year and next year. I think this is going to be a superb project to follow the progress of, and I can't wait to later in the year prune this down, because I want to keep these trees fairly small and develop some kind of canopy. Oh yeah, my kind of bonsai. As always, thanks for joining me, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.